Yeah, it's funny watching like you just said, like watching the replay. In StarCraft 2, I would be in so much trouble right now because you have your third, and I haven't scouted it. But in StarCraft 1, I'm fine. Like, as Protoss, 2 bases, Zerg 3 bases is okay. That's like
because it's designed.
even.
It's designed that you need that many bases to keep going. So I do like that it's simplified in that way a little bit as well. Of I can pump the same amount of units out of 2 bases that in StarCraft 1 I would need 3 hatcheries, 4 hatcheries even at points.
And you talk about the Queen, and like I was having that same feeling with Chrono Boost, especially early, and right after I expanded, I was like, I want a Chrono Boost. I want my probes to make faster. Like, why can't I make my probes make faster? And when I had like just a few gateways and so much money, and I was like, I want to make my Zealots and Dragoons faster, and I want to Chrono Boost them, and I couldn't. And that's one thing also that was so cool is having Dragoons again. I miss those guys.
Yeah, well, I mean. It is kind of the one thing that is kind of nice is that you're not seeing in StarCraft 1 you don't see roach rushes or stalker spam.
Yeah.
And speaking about missing, I miss the lurker.
Yeah.
So bad.
Lurkers and dragoons are so important.
But the one thing like I do feel that dynamic with the lurker, you have it a little bit now in StarCraft 2 with, you have your banelings.
Yeah.
You pull your banelings to the front to kind of like push back any of the stronger melee units, like zealots or whatever, and then you have your hydras coming up behind. But that dynamic of having lurkers down, having to build up, more hydras, bringing overlords in to spot for observers, trying to snipe observers out, it's another feeling where that dynamic, again, at pro levels, and as the game goes on, I'm sure new dynamics will form up that are pretty intense, but...
And it's interesting, you mentioned the Scourge. And just to like sort of tie it all together here. Oh, I supply blocked you. That's cool. Yay, go Protoss. Yeah. But just to tie it all together, like, okay, so the designers of StarCraft 2 have to realize that exploding unit, that like sacrificial exploding unit, is part of the Zerg kit, right? It's part of their sort of play style.
Yeah.
So, but where the Scourge? It's like they have to like. You know what I mean? It's sort of like they have to be aware of it. You can't have 2 units that do that, one in the air, one on the ground. It has to be one or the other. Like, to me, it just doesn't... I don't know. Like, it just feels a little bit... Like, Zerg, to me, honestly... And I know this isn't the case. I'm not, like, saying Blizzard would do this. To me, it feels like they designed Protoss, and they designed Terran, and then, like, they did Zerg last.
Well, I mean, with some of the patch 13 stuff, I feel that way a little bit.
I feel that way with... Okay, I'm going to make the same... I'm going to say the same thing that I said to you talking about patch 13 that I made to you yesterday, which is... So Zerg has these 2 abilities, right? They have the ability on the Corruptor that makes a unit take 20% more damage, and now they have an ability on the Infestor that makes a unit do 25% more damage. Mm-hmm. Like, okay, like, couldn't that just be one ability that makes a unit take 50% more damage, or makes a unit deal 50% more damage?
Well, I never agreed with taking the corruption ability away from the Corruptor. The original one that canceled out buildings for a while.
Yeah, it's just like, to me, that's not synergy, Blizzard. Come on, synergy is Ultralisks and Zerglings and Dark Swarm. That's cool dynamic.
No, but
synergy.
the Corruptor felt really could have a synergy. I'm not using the term really right in this setup.
Yeah,
but just. It bothers me that a lot of things are being patched out because they're saying players aren't using them.
Yeah.
But they're not really having the time, I think, to catch on these tactics.
I agree.
Like I was using, and again, I'm just a mid-level player, but I was using Corruptors to like intense effects, especially against walled-in opponents. It was just intense. Just being able to take down cannons and take down missile turrets for
it's a really cool ability, and I'm glad
people would have started using it. I feel like, and they take it away and they give this like damage boost, and
but they did give that back to the Overseer, the building.
Yeah, but that's it. That doesn't make sense to me. That's just a weird choice.
Yeah, it does seem a little bit weird. It was fine. I feel like it was sort of fine where it was. And if anything, I'd like to see maybe the Overseer get your target unit does 50% more damage if they decide that's what Zerg needs. I don't even feel like that's what Zerg needs.
No, is there, I do like the Infested Terran with the Overseer. I mean, that kind of makes sense. It's such a big, bloated thing. Almost like in a lore fashion of like, well, it's huge. Maybe it absorbs humans.
Yeah. It does sort of make... One other thing that's bothered me since we're talking about the Overseer and Overlords, that's bothered me since the beginning of StarCraft 2 is that Overlords... And like I sort of just accepted it. That Overlords are not detectors anymore. But it was always so hard to use, like, Dark Templar against Zerg or anything like that. That's why you had the strategy like Corsair, Dark Templar, because you had the Corsairs to kill the Overlords. Now you don't even need Corsair. You don't even need... You like, just build Dark Templar. And, like, how cool would it be to me personally, if Overlords were still detectors, and maybe like, Overseers lost their detection, but got all these spells. To me, that would be, like, so cool. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but...
I like the new dynamic personally of having to upgrade for Overlords, But what you're about to see right here in this small battle is the dynamic I'm talking about that I miss. Of you have lurkers burrowed here. I'm a little bit off my game because I'm trying to control mutes up here.
Yeah.
But normally you bring in your Overlord and go in to snipe that, and you see the observer sniped. Obviously too late, but just that little dynamic of like, gotta take that one guy out, and even just you have that little bit still with. You see a High Templar, you're like, I gotta take the High Templar out before he storms me.
Yeah.
But
I think that once I get to his, I could totally see that being the case with like maybe burrowed banelings. I could totally see that being the case.
Yeah.
Or even burrowed roaches.
Well,
but,
again, that brings us back to the point we made like months ago in StarCraft 2 of how cool would it be if banelings could move while burrowed.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
That essentially replaces the lurker.
Yeah.
But it is a kamikaze unit still, and it has its own dynamic because you don't want to just waste it.
But one thing that I miss even more than that dynamic that you just described for Zerg is the dynamic of Darkswarm, where Zerg has these lings and which you can upgrade to cracklings, and then ultralisks. Zerg is more melee dependent than any other race, and I was thinking about this earlier today when I was doing my placement matches in StarCraft 2, and I was using my Zealots and Sentries with Guardian Shield. And the way I've been thinking about Guardian Shield lately, I've been using it like even more than Force Field, because Guardian Shield takes away 2 damage from range. So that's basically 2 armor. That's like upgrading armor for Zealots twice, right?
Okay.
And letting those Zealots get in there is like makes them so much better, like makes them so strong. And those like I've been killing I have trouble in StarCraft 2 fighting other Protosses, but I've been killing so many Protosses now that I've been like going for like all Zealots with leg speed upgrade and Guardian Shield, right? But to me, so Terran has point defense drone in StarCraft 2, Protoss has Guardian Shield in StarCraft 2, but Zerg doesn't have Darkswarm. Like, it's like they're the one race that really needs something like that.
No, of course, and that's been the major trouble because with patch 12, Blizzard was saying we're gonna nerf a couple things on Zerg because we're making Ultra stronger. But then patch 13 they come around and they nerf Ultras, and they're saying they buffed Ultras, but realistically they took the primary damage down and just made them stronger plus versus armored, which is cool.
They're gonna be good
in the
at
server use, but they nerfed they nerfed their hit points. And the biggest problem with Ultralists in the first place was that their hit points are so low. They die before they get to the enemy. So the damage might be greater, but good luck getting your damn Ultra to the enemy.
Yeah.
Like I almost feel like you're gonna have to Overlord drop your Ultras right into the fray.
And it's kind of funny too how it's funny to me how I'm so glad I forgot I built Corsairs in this game. I'm so glad I did, so we can see what I was talking about with the Corsairs and the mutes. But no, yeah, and it's funny too because now that Ultras do 40 damage now to armored, that's like insane. That's really good, right? But so they're going to be really good at killing Marauders, but how are you going to get to the Marauders? Because the Marauders are just going to kite you all over the map. Or they're going to be really good at killing Roaches, but how are you going to even get to the Roaches? Because the Roaches are going to kite you all over the place.
And even these new abilities, the Frenzy and
the
Corruption ability, it adds damage, but again, good luck getting
honestly, and here's the other thing too is, and I'm not, I usually like to quote other sources. I usually like to rely on us to say what we say for Amateur Hour, but I was reading on Team Liquid how some guy was experimenting how adding another Ultralisk is like way more cost efficient than putting Frenzy on one Ultralisk after you factor in the cost of getting the Infestor, right? And so, like, really, what is it? That's like, I mean, like, honestly, Frenzy and that other spell from the Corruptor, those like to me those are like such lame abilities. Those are abilities that like Blizzard's like, oh no, we're getting to the end of beta, we got to put something that we can easily balance, so they can change the number. Like it's too weak now, so let's make it 30% more damage.
Yeah.
To me, that's what that is. Like that doesn't feel Zerg.